What's going on, guys? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to install my Euro taillight wiring harness. Okay, so before we start, a couple of things. On my wiring harness, there are two connectors on the factory side that actually need to be slightly modified due to the fact that I currently don't have a good source for the OEM versions of what's on there right now. If somebody can help get that source for me, please contact me and maybe we can work something out or whatnot. But the modifications that are needed are not anything that will ruin any kind of wiring. It won't make it work any different, and in all honesty, it's not even going to be really noticeable to anybody. So they do have to be made in order to fit into connectors. So I'm just going to say that now. Another thing, currently the wiring that's in my car was wiring when I was figuring out what actual wiring was needed and necessary. So I'm gonna kind of do my best to show you on this. Well, I'm not gonna be installing this harness because this one is actually going out to a customer, but I'll show you what's currently on my car and how it's done. The installation process is the exact same. I'm probably not gonna be completely tearing my car apart just because obviously that's a lot of work to tear apart, but I'll show you what needs to be done, where the wires need to go, and as far as routing goes, there's a ton of extra wire on this, so you can kind of do your best at running it yourself. As far as running the wiring, it's not too bad. As for the actual install of the wires that have to go from the inner to the outer tail lights, as well as running through the boots, there's a video on Shop Dap, his YouTube channel. Definitely go shoot Paul a follow, and I'm gonna put a link to the video up here as well. He's got a really nice video on his wiring harness install to show how to run it through the boots and everything, just because there's no sense in me making a video as well as when somebody else already has one out there that's a very good video to watch. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. So I'm gonna do my best here to show you how it ran. What's going to be done is there's two sides of this. Here, which is the driver's side, which has the thickest wire going to it. Here, the passenger side here. So this is all going to get ran from here to here. As for taking this down, it's just going to be two T25s. I have the triangle here, so one here, and then up in these handles, there's also a T25 that you'll have to remove. Once you do that, you can actually take this here, it just pull forward along this line, it'll pull it completely out. As far as these ones here, you can drop down the rear deck, pull this out, literally just pull it, and it should pull out. It's kind of connected to here and here, so you just kind of gotta wiggle it out a little bit. But as for this is all, after you remove the two screws, it's all clipped in. Be sure to remove this and to remove this one as well. Again, if you watch the Shop Dap video, it'll show you exactly how to take all this apart as well as getting these out and everything. When I was doing mine a long time ago, tabs on like all of these, so just be careful. If the tabs do break, you don't necessarily have to remove these boots and you don't have to put new boots on. What I did was I took a little bit of 3M window weld or any kind of butyl rubber, and if you take the butyl rubber and just pull it really thin, it comes in, you know, a strip kind of, it's a big roll in a big white box. It's a little bit expensive, but it's honestly well worth it to have if you're going to be doing installs like these, to put things through boots and everything. What you'll do is you'll just kind of take a strip of it and just make a U shape around the white plastic that's in here, and then once you clip this in and press on it, it'll stick itself up there and it'll seal it. It'll actually seal it better than the factory seals it. That's one way to do it. Obviously, try your best not to break the clip, but if you do, that's one way of fixing it. Personally, I think even if you don't break the clips on the installs I've done on customer cars, you know, I don't break the clips on it, and even when I put it back, it still doesn't seem like it wants to seal like it did from factory. So I kind of recommend doing that anyways, even if you don't break the clip on it. So it's definitely a good thing to do. Once you get the wires ran through here, you're gonna come down the rear pillar here, through here, out to the outer tail light, and on both sides. There's 2 wires that run to the outer tail light on each side. Pull them out here, and then the other side's exactly the same. On your harness, and actually on this harness, before I ship it out, I will have heat shrink labeling on here, so it'll label which wires go into which. Those go into the 8-pin connectors that connect to the outers for the Euro tail lights. So actually what these are this is the reverse signal as well as the constant power for the dynamic turn signal to have them always working, as well as doing it this way, it will keep the brake lights working with the blinkers and everything too. Once it's ran through here, the thicker side is going to come through the driver's side here, down the C-pillar, and then it's going to run all the way along to the front towards the BCM. And once you run it to the BCM, then there's going to be 4 wires that you have to connect to the BCM. And as far as connecting them, it's fairly simple. I'll show you how to do that later on in the video. All right, so as far as the connectors go, I'm going to do my best to get this out. And this is going to be the same for both, by the way, for both the driver and passenger side. So you're going to have this brown connector here. Now, what you're going to have to do, the only modification you're going to have to do is there's a little tab that you'll have to clip off. Now, I highly recommend getting a nice pair of flush cuts. You can do this without the flush cuts, but the flush cuts make it easier. It's this middle tab here. You're just going to take the flush cuts and clip it. It'll probably, when you clip the first one, it'll probably just shoot off anyways, and you'll have a nice area here. But what that'll do is it'll allow it to fit into here. Nice, clip, and clip. If you don't do that, you won't really be able to fit the connector into this connector. Until I can actually get a good source on the US versions of what these blue connectors are, this is what's going to have to be done at the time of making this video. In the future, you probably won't have to do that once I find a good source that's not AliExpress. Basically what you're going to do is you're just going to, once your things are ran, you're going to take the tan connector, clip it in, clip that in. You're going to take this connector here, and you're just going to plug it in and push the red tab. You can do that for both sides, and the inners will be done. As far as the inners go, obviously remove the factory inners first, and then put your new inners in. And there's a 8mm nut that will be removed from here, and then the whole inner can just be pushed out. All right, so as for the outers, as for the actual install of these, ShopDAP has a really nice video on how to get these out. It's just you pop this here forward, and then you can kind of work this out and pop this out. There's a T25 here, T25 here, and then you just kind of grab it, wiggle it, and pull it out, and that's done for both sides. Now there is a grommet that you have to run the wires through, which are these 2 here on this side, as well as these 2 here for the driver's side. As for running it through the grommet, you can either poke a hole through the grommet to make it easy and just use some 3M window weld and put it around the opening after the wires are ran through. That's a really easy way of doing it. That's what I did on my own car when I first did this, because I wasn't trying to deal with that when I first did this months ago. Or you can actually try and remove the electrical tape on it and then run it through the factory hole. Once that's done, there's going to be a 6-pin connector that connects to the factory. All right, so there will be a 6-pin connector here, as well as an 8-pin connector. The 8-pin side plugs into the Euro side, and this plugs into the factory. This is going to be the same on both sides. As for the 8-pin connector, the 2 wires that you run through are going to be connected to this. When it gets shipped, it's going to get shipped with these little pink holders in there. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but all you do is there's a side that's got an opening. You look in there and you'll see a little, what looks like a tab or something. You just kind of take a screwdriver, push on it. It'll pop that pink connector out a little bit, and you just kind of push it through like that. And you can pull it right out. Don't lose this. You will need this. And then you're going to take the 2 wires and pin 1 and pin 7. They'll be labeled which ones they need to go into. You're going to just push it in until you kind of hear a click on both ones. And once you hear that click, you just take your pink holder and push it right back in, and it'll click in, and now it's set. So that's how you work with that. And then you can just physically plug this into the tail light, plug the 6-pin into the factory wiring, and that's it. As for in the rear, that's pretty much everything, because both sides are the exact same. So that's all you need. Now we'll move on to the BCM part. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to show this, because obviously it's gonna be a little hard, but first thing you're gonna do is, with this, you're gonna take this and pull up on it, and it's just gonna unclip, and you can push it to the side a little bit. This here, you pull the handle here. I'm not sure how well you can see this. You pull the handle, and then on the back side of this, and I'll get you a better view of it once I get it out, but on the back side of this, there's gonna be a little clip that you slide with. You have to take like a screwdriver or something and just kind of shove it back there. There's an opening that you just take it and push it forward, and then when you push it forward, try and push it all the way out, and then after that you can just pull the handle off. So here's a better view of the opening. So what you're going to do is you're going to just take a trim tool or wedge or something. You're just going to get back there, and it's just going to slide. You're going to push on it out this way as you're pulling on the handle, and you're just going to kind of take it and flick it out. Try to do your best not to lose it, and once you do that, you can just pull the handle out. As for this here, there's going to be a little plastic clip that you can pull out. It's kind of like a Christmas tree almost. There's that. All right, so how it works is this is the Christmas tree part. There's gonna be a little cap on it. You're gonna have to take a small screwdriver and pop this cap off. Then you're gonna see something where you can kind of take a screwdriver and unscrew it, and once it gets most of the way out, you can just pull it. Okay, so it's this little thing here, and then after that, there's going to be this clip here that you can just take a screwdriver and pop it out. Once that's done, you can just kind of take this here, push it forward a little bit, and it'll come right out like that. Okay, now for this, you're going to need to remove this side. And what it's going to do is you're going to take a trim popper tool and just kind of pop it and work it until it pops out. Okay? And then this piece here should just kind of work its way out. I can do it without popping that, but like that and like that. Set those to the side and you're good. Right now would be a really good time to install the Euro switch. Take your hand behind here, and it's going to be a tight fit. You just kind of might chop your hand up, so be careful. And you literally just have to push on it, and it'll pop out. And once it's kind of annoying to do, but once you if you put the factory one's a little bit easier to pop out. This is actually the Euro switch. I don't know, it's a little bit tighter tolerances or something. But when you push on it hard enough, it'll pop right out. There's one connector that you just unplug. You take the Euro switch, plug in the new one, and just clip it back in. That's it. All right, so back here, you're gonna see there's going to be 3 plugs. There's going to be this one here, and one way in the back. The one you're gonna be working with all 3. There's only 4 wires that need to be connected, but you're gonna be working with all 3. So it's a little swing style. There's a little clip on it. You'll feel it. It's like right here that you have to push it. And as you're pushing it, you can swing the arm down and it'll unclip and swing down like so. And it'll be down like that. Then you can take the whole connector, pull it forward, and on the center one, it'll just it slides out of this thing here. It slides down. And once it's slid down, you can just pop it out of the way and get access to it. Yeah, that's it for this. Now, once this is out, you clip the zip tie that's on there from factory. You'll see that there is this there'll be 2 clips on this, one on each side. All the connectors are the same. You're going to take it, and you're going to take a little screwdriver, and you're going to push this out, kind of while putting a little tension on it so that it kind of pulls it, and then you're going to do the same, and you're going to push this one outward, and this whole black housing will slide off of this. Okay? All right, so once you push each one of these things to the side and kind of put a little tension, this whole thing will start to slide out like so. Like that. And you'll have 2 plugs, okay? Now on the side of each plug, they are numbered. Not every single pin is numbered, but it goes in order. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna find the pin number. So this one's 42, 43, or 42, 41, 40, etc. So you're just gonna literally take the pin and it's just gonna push into it and you'll hear a click. Once you hear a click, that means it's seated. You do that for all the pins. The way that these are numbered it goes, the plug in the very back is 73A. So if you see on the label it says 73A, that's going to be the plug in the very, very back. And then this one is 46, T46. And then this first one here is going to be T73B. So it goes T73A in the very back, T46, T73B. Okay? So you're going to just find the pin numbers, click them in, and that's it. And once they're clicked in, you can just take this connector and I'll try and do this with one hand, but line it up. You kind of got to take both plugs. So yeah, you're just going to take both plugs and you're going to kind of line them up with their slots, and you're going to slide it back together until it clicks. Once you do that, you can put a zip tie back through into here and re-zip tie it if you'd like. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Okay, and then once you're done with that, you can take this here, and this is going to be kind of tricky on this T46 right now with one hand, but I'll do my best. You can take it and make sure to line it up with the slider. Slide it up like so, and it's not lined up. Come on. once you line it up, you can slide it up and it'll kind of click back in, and you just kind of push it forward, and then you push the lock and click, and it's done. And that's it. That's installed on the BCM. And then you'll just put this interior panel back on, and you'll reroute all your wires, you know, zip tie all your wires, make sure it looks clean and everything, and that's really it. As far as installation goes, just put the interior back together. As for this, you just kind of pull it up and then pull it out of this here, and once you pull it out of this here, same in the back. So you're gonna have to pop the seat up. It's just like so, and then the other side is the same, and then you can kind of swing this forward and pull the whole seat, bottom of the seat out. Under here, there's a Christmas tree clip here. Not sure how well you can see that right there. And you just pop that out with a trim popper, as well as there's a little metal nut thing that you can just with your fingers spin it. It'll pop out, and it'll allow you to take this piece here and just unclip it, pull it forward, put the seat down, whatever you need to do. Take this whole piece, just pull it up, and it unclips from here, and it all just pulls right out. My best recommendation is to pull it out from the back and slide it out, okay? And once you slide it out, you can actually, you know, run the wires along here with the factory wiring, zip tie it, Tessa tape it, whatever, and it'll run to the front up to the BCM. And that's about it. All right, guys, so that's really it on how you install my harness. I know I didn't pull my whole car apart and do this, but I already have it installed and I really don't want to touch it. So if you have any questions, please contact me. I'm sure there'll be questions on exactly how to take interior pieces apart. Everything pretty much just unclips, so you can kind of pull it out, push it out, whatever. There are the little Omega clips that might get stuck in there. Use a pair of pliers or a screwdriver or something and remove them. I have the actual tool to remove the Omega clips if it gets stuck in the car. It's 25 bucks or something like that on the VW Snap-on website if you want to get that. So you can do that as well, and it just slides right on and it pulls it out for you, so you don't have to do anything. But as for the install itself, it's pretty much the same as all of the other harnesses out there. The only difference is that you are running wires from the back to the front. That's the only extra part that you have to do. And as far as inserting the pins into the BCM, it's very simple. It just follow the labeling and the pin numbers, and then just push and click it in, and that's really it. As for if you want to do this install one day and get it programmed the next day or something like that because of scheduling or whatnot, you can wait. The only thing that will not work are the inner turn signals. So everything will work as normal, like factory outer turn signal. The outer turn signal will work, the reverse light will work, all of that will work, besides the inner turn signal. The inner taillight works, everything. So if you want to go that route, you can. Or I highly recommend just doing it all in one day. Or if you want to actually have me program it beforehand, it won't really make a difference if I program it beforehand or after. It'll just make it so that when everything plugs in, it'll just turn on and work without any things. The only thing is that if I program it beforehand, I highly recommend installing it right away after, or else you'll have a couple of lights on your dash saying that the turn signals are out or something. But yeah. So as for what my harness does differently, since I am uploading or flashing, quote unquote, data sets to the BCM, it will allow for a couple of extra features. So the features go as follows. The coming home, leaving home, you'll actually get the animation menu. So the little drop down, you'll get the animation menu. The switch on when approaching, you'll get that switch as well. What'll happen with the animation is as you walk up with switch on when approaching, when it detects the key, it'll automatically, if you have the center light bar, what'll happen is it'll turn on the center, it'll fade on the center light bar, it'll fade on the DRLs, and then turn the low beams on. And in the back of the car, it'll fade on the inners, then fade on the outers, and turn on the license plate lights and all the interior lights, just like how coming home, leaving home is, but it kind of does it in more of a fade swoop animation versus just kind of a everything on at once, like no fade, nothing. As well as another thing it does is the speed of the dynamic turn signals. Since you're plugging it into the BCM, the car can now control the speed of the turn signals of the dynamic function. And when you're just locking and unlocking your car, it will be a quicker flash. When you're driving the car, it'll be more of a slower flash. At night, it'll be slower, all of that stuff too. So that's another thing. So instead of it just being the same speed all the time, it'll be faster, slower based on vehicle conditions. Let's see, another couple of things are the brake lights and the dynamic turn signals work all the time as it should. The actual brightness of the taillights will be the correct brightness for them as it is in Europe, because in Europe it's actually the taillights, the running lights on the taillights are actually at half brightness, so it'll look a lot better too than just being full brightness all the time. It won't be as in your face, but that's another thing. As well as when you pop the hatch, it will turn off the inners and the outer taillights will actually brighten. It'll adjust the dimming to brighten the outers. So basically it'll shut off the inners and brighten the outers, and then when you close the hatch, it'll dim the outers back to their normal running state and it'll turn on the inners. Also, you'll have the single slatted parking light function. So when you shut your car off and you're getting out of the car, if you're parked on a street, you can just take the turn signal, flick it down or flick it up based on which way the street is facing, and it will allow for the one side of the parking lights to stay on after it'll just be the DRL up front headlight and the rear taillight, and it'll stay on when you're parked on a street, so as people are driving by they can see your car, see the lights, and it'll work. But that's basically it. A couple other things under that in more internal functions that actually are added to it, but this is how it is from factory over in Europe, and I figured give you a way to do it, here. Oh, also, I completely forgot. You'll get the rear fog light. So one of the wires in there is actually for the rear fog light, and the coding will be input into there as well, so you'll have rear fog light functionality. And really, that's about it. Like I said, a couple more internal features here and there, but that's really it. So yeah. As always, be sure to check out the link below. Check out my website, get your matrix activations, or if you want a harness or something, grab it from the link below. As well as if you need any detailing supplies, definitely check out the link below. I'll have a coupon code for 10% off, detailed image, and the 10% off coupon you can actually use on top of whatever discounts they already have. It's just 10% off your whole order, so if there's already percentage off, you can use it on top of that and get more percent off. As always, if you would like to subscribe for more mediocre content such as this, please do, and take care.